Well, welcome everybody on Facebook. So glad that you are joining us for tonight's recap. We will give you guys a few seconds to pop on. And Loretta is joining us. I know Bruce was going to pop on. Julie is here. If you guys are watching, just put a comment. I can't put a comment in below and just let me know that you're here joining us. We're actually streaming on Instagram tonight and on Facebook. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. So let me know in the comments where you're coming from. And also, you can also just share your biggest takeaway from the summit so far. And Loritta's saying there's no volume. Does anyone else have no volume? That's not good if we don't have any volume. No audio. Oh, guys, that is a problem. Let me take a look at this and see if we've got audio problems. Test. Well, it's saying, okay, Bethany says she has audio. Okay, so it looks like we do have audio. The Looney Farm, Carrie says that she has, it's fine on Instagram. That's awesome. And Carrie, you know what, guys? The problem is I have been like so ingrained in the summit the last, 2 months. I almost forgot what day you were on, Carrie. You are on tomorrow. So I can't wait to share you tomorrow. It looks like people can hear me. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so here from Waynesville, North Carolina. Is it Lampasas, Texas? Awesome. Hartville, Ohio, Montreal. People said they can hear me. They have no sound. I would just check your audio settings because some people do, some people don't. And it shows it's doing on my end. Mike says he has sound. Tracy has sound. All right. I think we've got that straightened out then. All right. So I just want to say welcome. Let me know where you guys are coming from tonight. And share the stream with people. I know we have, Brendan had to reopen. All right, guys. Kara, hello from Vancouver. Vancouver's a beautiful place. I was out there last fall. All right, guys. I actually want to tell you a little story about Vancouver because Vancouver was actually one of the steps for this summit to happen. Okay. So I'm going to tell you that story in just a little bit. So Brent said he had to reopen the feed. So if you guys do not have sound, please go ahead, reopen, and hopefully that will work. And go ahead and share the stream on Facebook. If you're listening to us on Facebook, go ahead and share this stream with a friend that might have not caught the summit yet. And if you guys want to guess, I told the guys on Instagram just a few minutes before you guys popped on. But if you guys want to guess how many people we have signed up for the summit that are attending the summit as we speak, I'm going to go check right now. All right. And you guys put into the comments. There's no crazy answer. You guys know that we have a lot of people on. So I'm going to go check right now. You put it into the comments what you think it is. And let's see. I will see who's the closest. All right, so let's go to lists, and I'm going to open up the summit list, and I'm just checking the summit list as we speak. Okay, so I have the summit list right now in front of me. So we've got, Ben says 254, Facebook user says 9,000. Another person says 8,000. Brendan says 3,600. Bear Ranch says 2,500. Someone says 1,414. Tracy says 750. All right, guys, keep them coming. Keep them coming. I know I have 37 people watching, so I got to be a few more. 1,500, 5,400, 2,500. Little Farm on the Corner says 2,500. Bruce says 3,600. Guys, you're all good. You're all good, but I just don't like how small most of you are thinking. Asia says 1,550. All right. Should I just tell you guys? I'll just let you guys know that we have at the moment And this is changing rapidly because we have people signing up every single minute. I think this conference is breaking the internet. We have 9,719 people signed up so far. All right. And I know you guys were busy watching the videos today because we could see the stats on the back end and they were going crazy. It was absolutely, Mike, I wish there was 2 billion people watching because that would mean that there would be 2 billion thinking about where their food was coming from and how to grow food, because, really that's why we're here. I really appreciate, and we'll get into the speakers in a few minutes here, guys. I really appreciate the different speakers today because each speaker brought a really great part to the presentation and to the talk. And I love that some of the speakers brought some controversy. We had Joel, who had a few things to say that we had great time discussing on Facebook. Lex and Beth really talked about how they built the farm on their terms. And I know a lot that resonated with a lot of people. So it's just, I am so excited that we have reached almost 10,000. We'll probably hit 10,000 sometime while I'm sleeping during the night, which is awesome. And the other thing, I don't know if you guys heard, but so Nicole works for me. Nicole's our kind of project manager. She's the one that takes care of a lot of the podcast. Nicole and I had a little bet going because the podcast, the Thriving Farmer podcast, was getting close to 100,000 downloads. And about a month and a half ago, when we broke 80,000, we started to place bets on it, what dates we thought they would. And we were both looking at the analytics, and I said probably the 10th of December. Nicole said the 6th of December. And guess who won? I had to send Nicole $100 yesterday because Nicole won. She was actually almost on exactly, but so last night at 10 o'clock, we hit 100,000 downloads on the podcast. So it's I was off by 3 days. I just wasn't believing in myself enough that we were going to have enough downloads and listens. But so yeah, I really appreciate all the work Nicole does every single week. She makes sure you guys have a new episode. She gives me good feedback, writes the show notes every single week. So that's and the only actually goal that I set this year, I set like 4 or 5 goals this year. There was a couple stupid ones like 15 minutes of Spanish every single day. I don't know how I thought that was a good idea, but the one goal we are going to hit this year is 52 episodes of the podcast. I believe we have 52 episodes registered, recorded. And I don't think 52 will air this year, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was 52 episodes recorded. So I wanted to have January done because I'm taking a couple weeks off in January. So those need to fill in. But what I want to kind of circle back a little bit is I wanted to circle back about kind of the journey here because this is something that I want to pull back to what Joel said today in the summit. And actually, I was reading through all your comments because we actually had you guys enter the giveaway today, and we are going to draw for the giveaway later on this session. So make sure you guys stay on to hear who won today. So I was reading through all of your comments, and it was so awesome to hear how all of you had little different tidbits that you took away from different speakers. And that's the thing I love about these kind of conferences is there's so many different speakers and so many different avenues to learn. But the kind of rewind, last September, I kind of invested in myself, and I went and hung out in Vancouver. So I was saying I was earlier hearing someone from Vancouver on that was awesome. So I hung out with Vancouver, and I paid some money to spend some time with some people that have gone down this road of providing content a couple years ahead of me. And they were sitting and talking to me, and they said, Michael, you need to do a podcast. And so that's where the startings of the Thriving Farmer podcast came from, was that conversation with them, spending that day with them laying out just how they had built their podcast, the recommendations they had. And then from that podcast came the summit, because as we were recording all these episodes over the summer, I was like, there's got to be another version that we can do of this. And so that's why we started thinking about the summit probably back in July. And we've been solid on that. The last 2 weeks, the last 2 months, my team has been solid on this. We have Nicole, who's been kind of running the ship while I've been focused 100% on this. We've got Yano, who is our video editor, and Guys, if you haven't enjoyed the video quality that he's turned out, it's just been incredible. And he and I have a great relationship back and forth, making sure the edits get in there. And yeah, we could not do this summit without him. Then obviously the rest of the team who's built out the entire online portals and done all the graphic editing. And so that I just really can't thank all of them enough. All right, so let's get down to it. So let's go through the speakers. Let's talk about speakers today, because that was kind of what I wanted to kind of do, was the wrap up of today's speakers. And I want to let you know, I have listened to all of these talks at least 3 to 4 times, because I obviously wrote the questions before I interviewed the person. We did the interview, so that was to listen to them once. The second time was when the first draft came through to record. So that, and then the third time was the final draft coming through to get processed. And then the fourth time was today. So I was actually on a live stream on Facebook. We did a live stream all day long just to kind of share the talks at a watch party. So I've listened to these talks 4 times now, and every single time you go through, you get something different. So guys, if you still have some time, for you guys who are just watching the free summit, make sure you go back and watch. If you think like there was a great section, make sure you go back and listen to that. For you that have the all access pass, you're great. You can actually listen to these for as long as you want. And here's another thing. We are podcasting this summit, all right? So that for you guys who have the all access pass, one of your bonuses that hasn't been added yet, it'll take us a couple weeks to pull this off, our team to pull this off. But in the bonus, you have a feed which you can add to your Google or Android app. And then you get just a podcast feed. The entire thing will come through, so you guys can just listen to it on the go like you would the normal podcast. So basically what that means is you have 32 episodes of the podcast that are in the summit all at once. You'll be able to binge watch. So that's going to be awesome. But who had fun listening to Joel today, guys? I went through your comments. And a lot of people said they got so much away from Joel speaking. And I just want to say, you know, I've been interned at his farm, so I feel like I have a really inside idea of how the farm operates, how he thinks. It's just, he is such a treasure to our generation. And obviously there was, and Shelly, we will definitely get you set up on that. I'm not sure why you can't get that, but Nicole will absolutely help you download the app and make sure that you can get in there. You know, Joel has just spent his last 10 years really just trying to get regenerative message out there. And it's shown, because when we advertised the summit, that was the talk you guys all wanted to listen to. So, you know, yes. And one of the things he did say was he talked about the 3 aspects of a thriving farm. And he did say something, talked about the next generation being involved. And so that, you know, I know some people were talking about that, brought a lot of things up on Facebook. And I'm going to actually switch to my notes on that. Let's talk about that in a little bit of depth. So what Joel is really passionate about is family and community and the regenerative side of farming. And so thriving to me is really close to that regenerative side. And if our family is not interested in the regenerative side and thriving that farm, we don't have a sustainable model. I think that's what Joel was getting into. And so, you know, with Joel, I really liked him that he brought that up as something for us all to aspire to. Now, I know farmers that have been trying for the last 10 years to find the next successors for their farm, and their family is not interested. And that's unfortunate. And hopefully they can find that next generation of farmers. But what I think, if I'm pulling away from what Joel said, is that he wants the family to be involved. And so maybe the family is not going to take it over. And that's fine. You know, my kids, I have 2 kids right now. Hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 more. And they may not want to continue farming, and that's fine. Charlotte wants to be a ballerina. Simon, he's 2.5. He loves tractors, but, you know, that could change very quickly. But, you know, I'm going to do my best to train them, that they understand the reason why we farm. They understand that we are caring for the earth, that we are, as Joel says, my words escape me today, caressing the flora and the fauna, and really just caretaking the earth. And so even if my kids don't come to take my farm over from me, the fact that they have grown up on a farm, grown up understanding why we farm, what we're doing to be responsible for the earth, and also that they grew up knowing that they were still my most important possession. That yes, the farm was important, but they were the most important. So they don't hate the farm, because if your kids hate the farm, and my friend Ray, it says it really, really well. He says, if you are on your deathbed and you have your family surrounding you, or if there's no family surrounding you because you just spent your entire life focusing on your farm, and they're like, yeah, dad did this thing and he was a great farmer, but he never really cared about us. That would be the biggest tragedy. That yes, you cared for the earth, but you didn't care for your family. So that to me is a lot of the thing I brought out of it. The whole goal here is you really have to balance that family and the farm. And so, I mean, I see a lot of people struggle, and say this is a large part of our people we serve is millennials, and a little bit older than millennials, maybe Gen Xers is I guess what they're called. And they're usually first generation farmers. They're deeply passionate about this and they want to farm, but they have small kids. And that is the hardest time to get into farming. And so, if someone comes to me, they're young, they're 23, 25, and they say, hey, I want to get into farming. I'm like, hey, sure, fine. Wait on the kids for a couple of years. Get that farm started. Get those first 3 years or 2 years under your belt. Get that farm bringing in income, and then have those kids. Because yes, you want to, but if the kids come first, you're going to be trying to balance them. And that is the hardest time to be starting a farm, because you can't give a lot of them times the devotion you want to, and you're very frustrated through that process. Now you can do it. It's just going to take you longer. You have to take more baby steps. So let me just look here at the comments here. Man, you guys are blowing it up in the comments. Keep them coming in here. Let's see. Great interview, people said. Love Joel's customer certified tag. Yes, that is awesome. Colleen said, talked a lot about government over regulating our food sources. Yes. And another thing, guys, who's coming to the Rogue Food Conference? I know I am. I've already got my tickets lined up. It's actually only an hour from us, and we're going to have a summit meetup at the conference. So if you're on the summit, you're going to come to the Rogue Food Conference in January 25th. We're going to have a meetup probably the evening of, or maybe the evening before, and we'll get together. I'm not sure where, hang out, chat, and swap summit stories. Let's see what else here, guys. So tell me, does any of this resonate with you guys on, the aspect of trying to balance family and farming? Because that is one of the biggest challenge we see in the farmers that we work with on a daily basis. So, coming back to the kids, the number one thing is they do not hate the farm. The number thing is they know what they mean to you. So they know that they are obviously the highest importance. And then they know the biggest picture, as I said earlier. Is that, the bigger picture is if even if the kids, as I said, the kids don't take the farm over, that they know the bigger picture, know what's happening in this world, that they are educated and free thinking children. That to me is what's most important. Stephanie says, favorite Joel quote, you can't Google experience. Yes. So, one of the things that we live in an age of information like this summit, where else can you, 10 years ago, this summit would not have been possible. 10 years ago, this would have been teleseminar where you'd have called it on the phone and listened to somebody talk about their farm and not being able to see the pictures or hear the expressions and going back and forth. So that's that. One of the things I will say that this brought up, and actually, I'm really glad that Joel brought these things up, because what Joel said tied back into the rest of the summit and the rest of the speakers. I'm going to get into the rest of the speakers here in a minute, because there's a lot of great takeaways and quotes from them. Is that you need to absolutely know your numbers, and the farm cannot be a hobby if you're going to be called a farm. If you want to have a backyard and you want to doodle with what you're doing, great. But if you want to make it a farm, if you want to make it make money, you need to run your numbers. You need to make it a business. And the reason for that is we only have so many hours in every single day. And if we want to balance that family and the farming, we need to be able to focus our 80-20 on what is making our farm money, what is making us move that farm forward. Because the biggest thing, and you'll see Brian today, guys, I am so grateful for Brian. Brian's interview almost didn't happen because Brian and I were playing he had time here, I had time here, and I was gone for 10 days during these last 2 months. And so eventually what happened is, by an act of God, it rained and he couldn't get out in the field and do anything. And so he messaged me and he's like, Michael, can we do this today? And I was like, literally, I'm going to call right now, but in 15 minutes, let's do the interview. So we did it. We actually came up with the questions that we talked about in the first 10 minutes. So you guys didn't see the whole interview. His and my interview was actually over 2 hours long because, again, Brian and I, we get on and we just go back and forth. And, I can't share what was said before and after because, there may have been some things said, but we did give you the best of it. We packaged it up, kicked it out there. One of the points he brings up, which I think so beautifully kind of illustrates who Brian is as a person and what he's trying to achieve there, is he's got this merry band of vegetable growers. And that to me is just such a beautiful talk. Of how he speaks. And, I don't know if you guys caught this, but let me know in the comments if you caught this in what Brian said. But Brian was talking about how there is only one pair of rain pants on the farm. And that was, to me, was like, man, I want that on my farm, because in our farm, we always push the season too far. So I know a lot of you guys are new to me. But my background is we had a certified organic farm in upstate New York. We ran about 15 acres of vegetables, managed about 500 acres in total. We did about $500,000 in sales. We had about 20 employees. We had a ton of fun. We grew a lot of product. We've had about a 300-member CSA. We did 4 farmers markets a week. So rather large operation. And actually, if you want to listen to, go back to my podcast, I have a couple episodes on that more depth, why we left the farm, why we started an education company. So you can go back and listen to that. Do not have time for that tonight. But a lot of those things that Brian said did resonate with me. Our team, we loved our team. We did spend way too many hours out in rain pants and with cold fingers. So that really resonated with me. All right. So let's come back to this though. I want to wrap up about Joel. And again, I promise all the other speakers will not go this long, but the name of our company was chosen very intentionally. And so obviously this is the Thriving Farmer Summit. I don't know if you've seen that a lot of the emails you get it from, or so our tagline is our company is called Growing Farmers. And so that is kind of like, there's 2 meanings to that. The first meaning is that our job is to help farmers grow their farms, grow their businesses, grow their lifestyles, grow their communities, grow their customers, grow their farms. But we're also growing new farmers. So our mission by the end of 2020 is to affect 50,000 farmers. And we're almost, we're getting there. We're adding, as I said, we have 100,000 downloads on our podcast. We have almost 10,000 people signed up for this summit. So, give us another year. Next year's summit will probably be 3 times as big, knowing me. Who's excited about next year's summit already? I know we haven't even, finished day 1. But we're already thinking about next year's summit. So I want you guys all to put those dates on your calendar. But so that's, that's kind of, to me, is what Joel's talking about. Is Joel is giving us a reminder of why we do what we do. And our world is broken. Our world is sick on so many different levels, from politics to food to emotions, all the way. All aspects of is sick. And what Joel was talking about at the beginning, our soils are sick. And that's why we need you every single day out there in the front lines of the trenches doing what you do. So I really appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with us. And, again, Joel starting the day off, setting that was, I think, so important. All right, let's pop back to some of the other speakers here, guys. Give me a thumbs up if that resonated with you guys. If you thought if that kind of made sense, kind of the direction we're headed as a company, direction we need you guys on board for. The next obviously was Curtis. Now, Curtis is, I've worked with Curtis for a while. Our friendship goes back a couple of years. Actually, Ray Tyler was the one who introduced us. You're going to be hearing from Ray on day 3. Ray's fabulous. You're going to love his chat. Ray's cranking the grocery stores. And guys, the one big opportunity for farms, there's 2 big opportunities. One big one is grocery. And if you're not thinking about grocery, looking at grocery, you need to be, because that is a massive opportunity for all the farms listening tonight. And let's go back to the second one is online sales. So if you're not looking at online sales, and we actually have a special guest tomorrow night who will be joining us live to talk just about that, 7 p.m. tomorrow, the 7th. You'll get an email about it tomorrow at 6 a.m. So really looking forward to that conversation. It's going to be good, guys, because online is huge. All right, so Curtis talked about 5 innovative farming models. Now, obviously, I don't know if you guys heard the hemp model. Who was listening to Curtis and heard the hemp model? Not all of us are going to be able to go out and fund a futures company on hemp. And hemp, we're going to hear about on day 3, so we're not going to talk any more about that. But the big takeaway from Curtis is that there is still so much opportunity in the regenerative space. Large scale, small scale, greenhouse, non-greenhouse, dialing in your production. The last farm he shared, I've actually met those guys and worked with them. They are sharp. They are just on it. And they have dialed in their farm so that everything grows really well. And one of the things that we bring up with the people we work with, so we have a program called the Small Farm University. It's a membership site for farmers that are looking to scale their farms and have more freedom in their lives. And one of the things that we work with them on is what we call knowing what success looks like. And so if you guys are out there, you grow a tomato plant and it gets like 2 feet tall. Well, for some people, that's what success looks like because they've only seen a tomato plant 2 feet tall. But if you are attending things like this, if you are going to conferences, if you are watching the people on Instagram, the people in this showing how they do, what success looks like, that you should be able to get 20, 30 pounds of tomatoes off a single plant, that the vines should be 10 to 12 feet long, that a cucumber plant can last 4 to 6 weeks in the greenhouse, and you can harvest 10, 15 cucumbers off of that. Knowing what success looks like is so key. And the reason for that is it allows you to see, oh, there's something wrong with my tomatoes. What can I do right now? Who can I call? How can I fix this so that I'm getting the yield that I know I need to be getting so I can be a profitable as a farmer? Because if your plants are yielding at 50%, you're losing money. And so that's one of the things I think Curtis brings up. Look at all the different models out there. Know what success looks like. See where you can make inroads into your local food scene. So the next one was Jordan. And guys, you guys loved Jordan. Jordan was fabulous. One of the things, I went to Jordan's pork school, I think it was 2 years ago now. And I'll tell you guys, I don't think he's listening. I almost didn't go. We were busy on the company and I was like, but I promised and I missed one already. So I reluctantly got in the car. I actually showed up late. Because I was going to drive over that day. I sat in the back. I even fell asleep a few times in the conference because, again, my background is vegetables. Yes, I've worked at Polyface. I've been there for 4 months. But, deep thinking about pigs. And, again, Jordan, I think, is one of the U.S. biggest experts on farrow to finish, if not the expert on farrow to finish in the U.S. So if you haven't taken his pork school and you're into pork, definitely do. It'll pay for itself within a week or two. But I sat in the back, and then all of a sudden, Jordan got on and started talking about these spreadsheets. And I was wide awake because I love numbers. I love spreadsheets. You guys wouldn't believe the amount of data we keep behind the scenes on this whole summit. It's extensive. And so when Jordan started talking about this, I was like, this is what people need to know because this is why so many farms don't make money and don't know it because they don't keep records like this. So knowing those numbers, and you guys opt in. If you haven't, go back to the thing, click on the link to find more about Jordan, get in his email list because he has these schools maybe once or twice a year, or jump in his farm builders group. I know a bunch of you guys listening are from Jordan's group. So appreciate you guys for hopping on and hanging out with us tonight. But yeah, Jordan knows his stuff. He's got those numbers dialed in. He's crushing it. So make sure you listen to that talk. Because if you don't know your numbers, don't know where you're making money, how are you going to have a sustainable model going forward? Now, here's another thing. Julia, we'll get to Julia in a second. But the reason there's not more money being thrown at the regenerative agriculture space, and they're starting to get money thrown at it here and there in other places. But I know actually people in the regenerative space started getting $1 million checks written to them. And so we're definitely starting to see the money roll in. But the reason why there's not more money is that farmers way too often think the whole I guess I would call it more of the philosophical side, or the just like the, oh, it's going to work with saving the world. But we have to come back, and we have to pull our back selves to the numbers. Because if we don't run our numbers and we can't make this a viable business model, guys, we live in a society where money talks. And when you can push the pencil to something, that's when people line up with money and walk and just hand it out. So we need to know our numbers. And so that's why, let's talk about Julia. Julia does a fabulous job of talking about financial systems. And there were so many of you guys that loved her talk. And so many people that said they resonated, and people that were saying, oh my gosh, I just went and bought her book, or I already have her book. And now hearing her talk about it brought a whole nother side to this. So seeing that was great. And she's a lot of fun, guys. I did I think it was 10 or 12 week training program with her this spring. And it was a lot of work. I had to really work at it, but I learned so much about profit margins and accounting and accrual versus cash accounting and all sorts of stuff, and enterprise budgets. So definitely check out membership. And guys, you guys get a free month in her membership. If you guys don't take her up on that, you're crazy. So go to the Summit page, log in. Nicole, can you drop in the link to page to day one into the comments so people can go there, click on her link, and make sure you use the code to get a free month in her membership, because it's fabulous material. You're going to love it. She's great. She's very good at explaining things in very small bite-sized pieces, because I'm a simple guy. You know, I like my numbers, but I like them in small bite-sized pieces. So getting her to share that with me on that level was great. All right. Now, I know something here that resonated with a lot of you was Lex and Beth Antonic. And Lex and Beth, guys, are great. Who listened to them, and who had a great experience with them? Who really liked their talks? And we went for a long time, guys. So I don't know if you guys noticed, we had kind of like the big feature talks like Joel Salatin, and then I'd like to bring in the smaller like farmer case studies. And that's where we had Brendan on, we had Bob on, we had Lex and Beth on. They're supposed to be like 20 to 25 minute small farm case studies to show people in the trenches, new farmers, they're just crushing it and going to the whole next level. I wanted to give you guys the idea and the vision, casting vision for you guys to see what's possible. I mean, guys, look, Brendan built a farm in 10 months that looks like it's been there for 10 years almost. That guy is just cranking out those vegetables. If you guys watched his talk, you'll see the farmer's market setup that they did. I mean, that looks beautiful. Just cranking it through. Now, one of the things Brendan didn't say in the interview, and I think we just didn't quite get to this, but Brendan approached this year and was like, I need to crank this year. So what am I going to focus on? Field growing my crops. He had every single one of his transplants grown by another greenhouse. Guys, that is how you hack it. Because one of the things you'll learn if you follow me for long enough is that you have to focus on what you're good at. We are no longer in the age of, I want to do a little bit of everything and be a well-rounded individual. Now we're in the age of laser focus, do the 3 things that you're good at, and focus. Brian said that. 3 to 5 things that each employee needs to be focused and be good at. All right, let's swing back to Lex and Beth. So Lex and Beth have a really cool story. Obviously, Lex has he's worked a long time to build another business, which he doesn't have to work at full time. So he's given him some freedom time in his day to build out this new business. But I will say he's been very intentional. We didn't go over numbers in the talk, but they are doing well with their business in the first couple of years. He said, we'll be in a year or two and it'll have paid us back our investment, I believe is what he said. But what they've done is they focused on the core signature crop. And if you are going to be here tomorrow, you're going to hear Charlotte Smith talk all about knowing your signature crop. Lex and Beth has a signature crop. That is their salad blends. And then they've added a whole bunch of things around that. And they're experimenting. They're trying the microgreen kits, the soups, the zucchini noodles, which if you're not doing zucchini noodles, guys, you're crazy. Yes, Brendan says, Banner greenhouses, baby. Yeah, I wish I was closer. Man, we spent so much. We had an entire person on our farm whose Main job was transplant production. So be able to outsource that would have been amazing. Let's see who guys. So did you guys listen to Lex and Beth? Tell me what your thoughts were. Brendan says it did a great job of how to start the transition from the 9 to 5 job to farming and hire your kids. They brought the whole family and made the whole family get involved. But you notice they've been very intentional about that. They said no chefs at the beginning. They completely shut the chefs off. Now they're starting to ease into that. And they're looking at their numbers. I mean, if you heard Lex say no cabbage next year, because I was up there, I was talking about cabbage. I actually told them they can't be growing any more onions because I was there. We were looking at the numbers. And I was like, Lex, you're crazy to grow onions. Like everyone likes them. Like, yeah, but you can crank out twice as much salad mix in that same space and make 4 times the amount of money. All right. So who was next? Well, we've mentioned Brendan. Let's just kind of circle around there. So, Brendan's a businessman, and I love seeing people come from the business world, come from the entrepreneurial world, and come into farming because they look at it at a very different way than like I came from it. So when I started farming, I was 15 years old. I thought it would be fun. No one told me you couldn't do it. It wasn't profitable. Actually, my grandparents were very strongly worded to my parents that it wasn't a good idea for us to do. I'm glad my parents didn't tell me that, but it was, so we were really successful at the beginning because, we focused on the stuff that worked. And I remember my mom telling me after my grandfather died, she was like, Grandpa never told you because he never had a chance to, but he was very proud of you guys and what you guys had accomplished on the farm because my grandfather was a farmer in Maine and he farmed with horses, and he actually took us to the farm when we were up there one year and we just saw the old outbuildings and stuff. But, it came down to that, the farm wasn't making money. And so he ended up becoming a pastor. And so that was his entire background. But I remember going to his house and they lived in Syracuse, New York, and they had a little garden in the backyard. And so my brother and I actually said, Grandpa, your garden's not really producing much. Your tomatoes are 2 foot tall. That's not, great. You should have bigger tomatoes than that. Again, knowing what success looks like. And so we went in his woods and where he'd been dumping his grass clippings for the last 15 years. And we dug up all that black gold, all that beautiful compost, and we layered it over his garden. And then we built a cage around it. So because he had awful squirrel problems. And I remember him calling my mom and saying, Joni, because that's what they call my mom. Her name is Joan, but they call her Joni. And he said, Joni, I had the best tomatoes. We were eating tomatoes every single day from the garden. And the boys came this summer and they were out there. I was shaking my head. I was saying, why are they wasting all this time? But now it's working. So that was just, one of those moments I remember. But coming back to, looking at the farm from a business perspective is when you look at a farm and you look at the operation, you've got inputs, you've got the production, you've got fulfillment, you've got the outputs, and you really think about that and build out the team around that, your farm can scale very quickly. And so that's what Brendan did. And that's why I wanted to bring him in and show what he did on the farm. And I'm really excited to see what he does in a year and 2 years from now, because he is going to be able to scale where he is. And I think he'll be able very easily, Brendan will be shocked when I say this, but I think he'll be at $1 million business in a couple of years. If he builds out the farm store like I think he can there because of his location, and be able to build out with bringing product in, doing even like a small restaurant / food store bar there. I think it'd be very easy with his location, the quality of product he's producing. Obviously you have to bring product in to get to that number, but he's absolutely poised to build that out and make that really work for him there. And someone says, Lex and Beth's farmer's market display is beautiful. You know what, guys? Lex and Beth crushed the farmer's market. So one of the things we do is we teach a course called the Farmer's Market Success Course. Erica Tebbins, who you'll hear from tomorrow, and I deep dive in the farmer's markets. I think the course has maybe 50 videos, 40 videos, but we basically build out an entire system. We've had people take the course and in 4 weeks, double their farmer's market sales. We have a 3-day challenge, a 5-day challenge we do twice a year. And that challenge, we've had people increase their sales in just one market by 67% by following what we teach. So again, it's awesome. Can't wait for you to experience that. But Farmers Market, crush it. And we actually, in the course, use Lex and Beth a lot as an example. There's multiple slides in there that are of their stand because we really love how they think about display and think about presentation and how they craft and they brand their stuff. So yeah, they're fabulous. They're doing a great job. We're really interested to see how they grow. All right. I think we've covered most. Bob. So I brought Bob in because Bob farms outside of Toronto, if you listen to the talk. And one of the times Bob was posting in, he's in our small farm university, he posted in the group and he was like, this is what we planted our garlic this year. And I was like, how many man hours do you have in that? And he was able to respond in the comments instantly. Oh, we spent X number of hours on this. This is how many cloves per hour, per man hour we were planting. And I was like, Bob, tell me more. And so Bob laid out for me a few more crops. And he laid out like, this crop is good, and this crop is good, and this crop is good. And so I was like, we need you on the summit because I want you to walk through those numbers for people to show them that it really doesn't take a whole lot of time. The other reason I wanted Bob on is Bob has been very intentional about involving his community. The people that work for him, where he sells his product. He has focused really on making sure he's supporting his community as well. And so I really love that, that he focuses on that. All right, let's see what else is going on in the chat here, guys. Yes. Let's see. Who is your top favorite speaker from the day? I know I've gone through kind of all of them now. I just want to hear from you guys what your takeaway was. Let's do this. I want you to put in the comments what the one takeaway you guys have from today. What are you going to go now do in your business because of the presentations that you heard today? Okay. So I want you to distill it down to one thing, because here's the problem. I actually did a podcast with Karina Bench, who's on tomorrow, talking about CSA. And she likes to say, she talks about CSA retention. I say she talks about creating raving fans for any business. So I do not want you to ignore that presentation. I definitely want you to go through that presentation because everything she talks about can easily transition to anyone in any business. And you're going to be hearing a lot more from her. We're going to be really trying to push her to put out some more content, pull together a course or something, because she's got some fabulous information. Let's see. Oh, so back to, where were we? Oh, I want to hear your top takeaway from today. So put that in the comments. And I'm just following here on Instagram. Sorry, guys. I've been kind of annoying you. Oh, I see that we had a bunch of people joining here. Sorry, guys. I've been ignoring you guys here. Daniel Brisbra joined us. Daniel has a new Spreadsheet Academy coming out here shortly, which I'm super excited about too, because spreadsheets are so powerful for farmers. And actually one of the bonuses of the All Access Pass is my 8 years of farm planning. So we include all the 8 years of how we developed our farm plans every single year, and an hour presentation on crop planning in general and how I think about the numbers and sort all that stuff behind it. Because a lot of people use these online programs. I find it's just best to have a spreadsheet that you can quickly go in and enter and stuff. But what Dan's teaching is taking that to a whole nother level and teaching you how to use spreadsheets around the entire farm. So that's why I'm super excited about what he has coming up. All right, guys, you are coming in with some questions, which is awesome. Rebecca says better spreadsheets. Yes. Bruce says know the numbers to price your product, profit from each phrase. I think that's some Jordan Green coming out right there. Darlene says my favorite was Joel Salatin. Darlene, what was your big takeaway from him? What was the aha moment for you? Let's see if we got any more feed on Instagram here. So Instagram says, got some podcast on microgreens business. No, but day 3 has 2 presentations on microgreens in the summit. So you're going to definitely want to get your ticket if you haven't. And I said, just started 3 months ago and want some good tips on startup. There's a ton of awesome information out there on microgreens. Again, stick around for Sunday's presentation with Nathan Cash. Guys, That guy is crushing it with microgreens. He is doing things with microgreens nobody has any business doing with microgreens, and it's awesome. So make sure you stick around. He has a course out, so listen to his presentation in the summit Sunday, and then maybe click over, check out his course. It's very, very, very cool. Joel Salatin, you can't Google experience. Yes, Rustic Rancher, that is so key. That's just incredibly, you've got to get out there and do it. And guys, one of the things I will say, a lot of people say, go out and just start your own farm. But one of the things you'll hear from a lot of us who have been down the road, and I've been now 15 years in this industry. That kind of dates me because I told you I started farming when I was 15. Actually, I started younger than that. We started the commercial farm when we were 15. I think we got the LLC when I was 15 or 16, somewhere around there. But there is no substitute for experience. And I'll give you a little quick story here. So the year I was farming, we had the farm and I interned at Polyface. So I reached 25, it was my quarter life crisis. And I was like, I need to do something different, or I need to see the world. Or what it really came down to is I saw that vegetable farming was very hard on the soil. And I knew regenerative agriculture farming was the best way to come back from that. So I was like, how can you marry the two together? What better place than to just go to Polyface and learn from the best? So, me, I reverse engineered the application process, got myself a spot there because that's harder to get into than Harvard, and ended up there. And so how we manage the farm, because we still at this point had a $450,000 a year operation, $500,000 a year operation. We had obviously a management team, but I came back once a month for 24 hours and walked the farm with the team. And one of the farm walks, I brought actually Bree, Aaron's son, up from the farm. And I said, anyone who wants to come up, I got 3 extra seats, come up. We'll be driving all night to get there. I need something to keep me awake. So Bree came up. We walked the fields. She said to me later, Michael, you walked through the field and you looked at a crop of beets. The crop of beets looked like a crop of beets. But you said, guys, that's going to need some nitrogen here in about 2 weeks. You need to make sure you put about 40 pounds per this on of soybean meal, and then make sure you do this to it, and they'll be fine. And she said that kind of understanding, being able to look at beets, was look completely fine, but notice that the last half inch of the bottom leaves are starting to go through bronze up a little bit or purple up a bit, is that needed nitrogen is what takes that 5 to 8 years. It's the thing of walking in a greenhouse and just feeling the aphids. If you're like some of the farmers I know, like Howard Prusick, guys, he's been farming for 40 years in Vermont. That guy he can feel halfway across the field when something's not right. But just that inner feeling about farming, that's why there's no substitute for experience. And so that's why when a lot of people say, oh, I want to start farming, I'm like, go intern for a year. That's going to save you so much money. Learn on someone else's dime. I think it's a massive, massive opportunity. All right. Here we go. Love the Brian Bates talk. Great to focus on the employees and give them what they need to be reliable childcare, insurance, guidance, financial support, company environment. Whew, guys, I love Brian Bates. That was awesome. That was really, really good stuff that he shared, because he shared how everyone wants to be treated. And I kind of brought out is Brian said, just be human. Just treat them like you want to be treated if you were their employees. And so, gosh, that is, yeah, absolutely good. All right, let's scroll back up here because the comment feed has been cray. And all right, Asia said, start with one thing. I don't need to go out and find 100 customers. I need one. Thanks, Joel. Yes. Guys, start with one customer. And Jordan has a great post on that. I think Jordan's on tonight. But Jordan says, if I were getting into the farmer for the first space, I would learn how to market farm products and go around to all my farmers in my area and start a distribution service. Because guys, tomorrow is the day that so many of the almost 10,000 people who are in this summit need is all about marketing. We've got Charlotte Smith on relationship marketing. We've got Erica Tebbins on how to build raving fans and crush farmers markets. We got Karina Bench, who's going to talk all about retention. And again, guys, new customer acquisition is so expensive. Love on your customers. Take care of your customers. That's why Karina is so important. We've got Nick Burton. Now, guys, I don't know if Nick Burton actually has been behind the scenes, a lot of help to me. He works at Bootstrap Farmer. the Urban Farm Academy. He's done a couple summits, and he's been giving me behind the screen tips on that. So it's been great to have him kind of coaching me as we move this summit forward. So he's sharing all about Farm Fusion and the opportunity everyone is missing that is not doing some sort of value added, because there's huge opportunity there, guys. As you're here, Charlotte, say tomorrow, Amazon is one click and it shows up at your door. Customers pay for convenience. And so we need to figure out how to be convenient for our customers. All right, let's keep going here through the feed here. Follow and find the money. Absolutely. Learning more about honing on a singular crop like peppers and what customers want. Yes. Brendan says, a lot of what we decided to do stems from our time of the SFU. The summit has reinforced many of those plans and have made me forge ahead with loads more tunnels and ramping up investment to finish the store. Yes, Brendan. Yeah, and Brendan actually found us maybe 4 or 5 months ago in the SFU. So the SFU is our small farm university. It's our membership for farmers. It's a fabulous way to get access to a bunch of rockstar farmers and my personal attention and all the resources that we've created over the last 3 years. Loretta says, getting more comfortable with number crunching. Darlene said, I like they gave lots of things that could be leadership skills, not just farming and gardening. Yeah. And one of the things you'll realize is Joel is a leader for our industry. He's blazing the trail. Sometimes he gets a lot of flack. But you know what? We're all human. And he is just paving ahead, trying to move this industry and this movement forward. And that's what I absolutely appreciate about him every single day. All right. Bear says, today made me want to finish my farming book even more, being able to relate to the farmers on the summit. That is awesome. Brendan says, looking for the Nathan Cash and Oscar Chavez. Oh my gosh, guys. Oscar is crushing it. He's crushing Instagram, using Instagram to build chef relationships and connect with chefs. So he's going to share about that. I'm going to go back to tomorrow, guys. So tomorrow we also have, and you guys will get an email, hopefully by 6 a.m. tomorrow. It's already 9 o'clock, and I got about 2 or 3 hours more work to do tonight. So hopefully you'll get out at you guys at 6 o'clock, and that'll be built out and ready for you to go. But we also tomorrow, let's pull back over to today to tomorrow. We're going to have Carrie. All right, guys, Carrie is awesome. Carrie Farms in Oklahoma, literally where it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's hell out there, but it's like the next door. Okay. It's really rough. They sometimes have days that are 40-mile-an-hour winds, just constant. We've got Amanda. You're going to love Amanda's talk. It's short. It's sweet. Amanda is doing amazing things in Las Vegas. What Amanda is doing in Las Vegas is she is revitalizing the local food movement, because there's no local farms in Las Vegas. It's a desert. And she is in her backyard. She's an acre backyard, raising chickens, raising greens, crushing the farming things in her backyard in Las Vegas, the downtown Las Vegas. So again, super cool. You're going to love that. Cretina. Sorry, guys. So we got Corinna Bench, who's sharing on 4 simple strategies to keep customers. Katrina Becker. Now, Tina started a farm 2 years ago, new farm, because she had a farm. They split up, and so started a new farm on new ground. And in 2 years, she scaled to 5 acres with a CSA and a wholesale. And so we really talk about that journey, kind of talk about what's important to her on the farm and how she's built that lifestyle to fit her and the family. And then we have Audrey Tehan too. So Audrey is also a member of SFU, and what she focuses on is she has a nonprofit farm. Now, the really cool thing about her farm is she's intentionally built it to focus a lot on education, and she actually moves the education in to her farm, and she actually uses the education as a springboard to get families in the CSA. So the kids come out, they learn about the farm, they learn out why the farm is awesome and it's amazing, you need farming, and then they come back and parents buy a CSA share. So it's a great springboard. So definitely want to pay attention to that. So that's our lineup for tomorrow. So I'm so excited to share that all with you tomorrow. Let's see what else here. I know I missed some comments here. Bear S Ranch says, see about hiring some part-time help, work a market garden into the business. Yeah, hire help, guys. Hire help. You have to know what you need them to do first, but then definitely hire help. Tracy says, today has given me tons of ideas for our nonprofit business plan, especially in terms of using strategy, predict numbers, and then keeping an eye on them. Awesome. Brendan's age is just a number. I was an employer at 23. Brendan, I think I got you beat. I was employing people at 16. I'm not saying I was a great boss at 16. A lot of the people I employed were older than me, and I had a lot of people quit on me very quickly, but I tried my best. Let's see. Brian crushed it. Repeat customers, word of mouth, getting out there. LOL, hell adjacent. Yes. Brendan says the whole summit is loaded with nuggets. And Brendan knows, because Brendan's got the old all access pass because he's part of our Small Farm U. And our Small Farm University actually got the entire all access pass for free. It's just part of their membership. So Brendan says Amanda's really doing great and people are in awe of having great local food. Carrie rocks. She does. Loretta asks, what is a CSA? So that is a CSA is community supported agriculture where, so actually, I don't know if we have, any talks about what CSA is, but if you Google it, like the CSA Coalition has a bunch of great information out there. That'd be a great place to start. For sure. Brendan says, what was that in reference to you dancing around only being 30 now? Brendan, I'm not going to share my exact age. You guys can guess all you want. I do have white hair. I don't know if you guys on Instagram, you probably can see it on Instagram because you guys are a little closer. I am getting white hair on either side. It's to my great chagrin. My wife laughs at me constantly about it. But I tell her it's it's all her. So Loretta says, I have the desire, passion, and knowledge, yet lack the funding to really get going. Any tips? Yeah. There's a lot of great funding opportunities. We know people who are working with the USDA loans. There's a bunch of great programs they've got for new and beginning farmers. I saw white hair, didn't want to say anything. I like to call it, I'm aging gracefully. It's more salt and pepper just coming in the side there. Mike says, dude, you got hair, enjoy. Yes. My dad actually is going quite bald and my grandfather had a full head of hair. So yeah, gray hair comes from employees at 16. Guys, I could go an hour and a half on just employee mistakes because we ran a crew for 9 years. So I've got employees' mistakes, and I know Brendan could too. It'd be a great podcast interview episode just to talk employee mistakes because you know what? There's some funny ones out there. All right, guys. Whoa. We can't stop yet. We have a prize drawing to do. And you know what? One last thing, guys. If you haven't already and you're thinking about it and you want the all access pass, make sure you grab that. It is a ton of awesome information in there. So if you're on tonight, yeah, definitely grab that. It's we do have a giveaway drawing today, guys. We have someone who won. So what we had you guys do is put your top takeaway on the Facebook and then share it. We went through all of those, checked them all out, and we have picked a winner. We thought long and hard about this, and the winner for the giveaway is the Little Farm on the Corner, and I believe they are a farm in San Diego. So congrats, Little Farm on the Corner. Make sure you do reach out to us if you're on, or if not, we will reach out to you. And so what they won is they run an all access pass. They won a $250 gift certificate to Farmer's Friend, who's one of our sponsors. And they won a book from the Bootstrap Farmer's Guide. It's right here, guys. Take me a second to grab it. The Bootstrap Farmer Guide to Farming the Future. So we will send that your way. So you just need to get in touch with us, give us a address to send that. We will get that going. And then just also a repeat of today's sponsor was the Rogue Food Conference. Again, guys, we really appreciate Joel giving us his time, giving us to do the talk. It was invaluable for so many of you guys. And I just know that, the conference is going to be great because we do really, if you listen to Joel's talk, especially at the end there, we live in trying times. We live where you cannot sell your neighbor a muffin, but you can do all sorts of other things which are wildly unsafe. But it all comes down to control. And so what Joel is going to do is Joel is going to walk us through in that conference and all the other speakers. We got Congressman Thomas Massie. We got John Moody, guys, some great people who are just crushing it. John Moody was actually just on Curtis Stone's new podcast. So it's really great to have him on there and have him sharing his information there. So again, I'm going to be at the conference. Hope you guys are as well. It's going to be fabulous. A lot of things going on there. And again, just one day. So it's not going to be a huge commitment, but it's going to give you those ideas and those details of how to circumvent the food system and really take it to the next level. All right, guys, you have been great. I actually killed, Instagram didn't like that. I went over an hour and kind of shut the feed off. So sorry, guys, over there. You guys are all right. Tomorrow, big day. Make sure you've got time. 8 speakers, incredible information. Don't miss it. Really look forward to sharing this well with you guys. And yeah, it's been so much fun to have you guys, all the comments. We have another giveaway tomorrow, so remind you of that. So same thing. Go in, watch the speakers, put your comment in the link, and then go ahead and share that. Tag a new farming friend, not the same farming friend that you tagged last time, and not your husband or your wife or significant other. Tag someone new that you know might be interested. So go and do that, and we will see you guys all in the morning. And then special guest tomorrow night, Cole Jones from Local Line, talking about taking your farm online, easy ways to do that. All right, and I am out of breath. I'm hoarse. Yes, Angel, thanks for coming on tonight. Nicole, thanks for being here. Shelly, Tracy, Brendan, Mike, Bruce, Debbie. All right, guys, have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me. And share this post with somebody. Share this onto your page to a friend that needs it. Yeah, I want to see 20,000 attendees at next year's conference, next year's summit. And I know we'll probably hit 10,000 during tonight, but yeah, let's get some more people watching great information, taking their farms to the next level, because we need you all, and what you do is more important than ever now. All right, you all have a great night.